So when you came back from the service, then that was your occupation. You were a producer, a record producer,
and at the
and you
same
spent
time,
most of your time at the record
studio.
Yeah.
At the same time, my father was doing the Civic Center. Our bands that recorded for us at dance maybe once every 3 months.
Yeah.
And
they would call those probably nowadays showcases.
Yeah, showcases.
Yeah, you showcase your bands, the label's bands. Yeah,
exactly. So we hired this particular producer. We had just bought Bego Records, where we had bought the contract de los Relámpagos del Norte, which Ramon Ayala is. And we hired this particular producer to help us produce more norteño in the Bego label.
Yeah, because you had the Relámpagos come in and all those other bands.
We had Carlos de Jose coming in and a few others. Of course.
And they were huge in the 70s, man.
Because that's when Los Relámpagos kind of split out. Ramon Ayala went another way, but we kept Cornelio Reina. At that time, Cornelio Reina had Me Caí de la Nube.
Si Tú Supieras.
No, he had a bunch of hits, And so we got this particular producer, and he said, man, how come we start doing dances at the Civic Center? So there's a bunch of other talents that syndicate that they don't book. They got Tony La Rosa there, even though Tony was not Tejano, but still he was getting airplay on the Tejano station. And going back to the stations, there's another story also. But Rubén Ramos, was the Mexican Revolution.
Alfonso.
Freddie Martinez, and all those bands. Freddie Martinez at that point was starting to get big. He eventually became the El Rey de Texas there in the 80s.
Yeah.
And in the 70s. And he said, let's start doing it, man. There's about 20 bands out there that never play Los Bailes Grandes. So he encouraged me, and I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to start doing my dances on Tuesday. On a Tuesday.
The day
unheard
after.
of, the day after El Baile Grande.
Yeah.
And here in the book, the way it started, man, I was concerned because I was going to go against what I considered probably the biggest concert promoter in the United States in Lo Tejano.
At that point in time.
At that point, because not only he was the biggest because he had a TV show, he was a personality.
Yeah. He was an amazing musician.
He was part of the band El Conjunto Bernal.
And a lot of musicians respected him, and, they do whatever they...
said, man, how can I go... what? Doesn't hurt. I can get those bands. They want to play the Valley. Paulino won't give them a chance, so I'm going to book them. So the first bands that I booked was Carlos Miranda. That's Carlos Miranda.
Oh, man, I love his music back in the day, man. Nueva Rosita, Mexico, yeah.
And with a couple of our local artists, I think I even had Carlos Guzman at that point. Carlos Guzman, eventually, I bought his contract from Impaco Records, and then he became a...
and he had Vestida de Blanco already as a big hit.
Vestida de Blanco. He became a permanent fixture of Falcon Records for 20, 25 years. So
and still to this day, you all have a great relationship.
Oh, yeah,
friendship.
We're in my book, I gave him thanks to him. And I apologize to Melba, his wife, because I introduced him.
Yeah.
They got married. I said, sorry, Melba.
I'm sorry.
But,
Pobrecita. Yeah.
So I booked my first dance, and to my surprise, sold out.
Wow. And what was the price of ticket back at that time?
$2.
$2 to get in?
$2 to get in.
And it was there at the McAllen Civic Center the day after a huge established promotion on Monday nights. So what was the capacity there?
Back then, before they doubled the size, it was about 1,000.
1,000 at $2, and the bands were,
$500, $350.
Yeah. So you got a taste right there and then. You got the taste. The promoter bug came in.
Two stories here real quick. I'll split into stories. One is that there were only two radio stations back then, KGBT and KIRT. The spots...
They were Spanish, by the way.
They were the only two Spanish
stations. Because there were English stations as well.
That played... And those two stations only played like 1 or 2 hours worth of Tejano music. Like in KIRT in Mission, Jaime Reese was a DJ that played 2 or 3 hours in his programming Tejano. And then in KGBT, they rarely played it, but still they played in between before Lee Garza became a full-time Tejano format on his time slot on radio. But the spots were only 50 cents at KIRT and $1 at KGBT.
Yeah.
So, now the spots are $50, $75 a spot.
Yeah. Sometimes even 180, but It depends on the ratings of the radio
station. So to put on a show for $1,000 back in the day, it wasn't that too much of a gamble. So that's why I gambled.
And if you made $50, $25, and the show was fantastic, you still made a little money.
Yeah, back then making $50 to $100. Hey,
yeah,
not bad.
But your first dance was way better than that, right?
Well, yeah, but we lost money.
Oh yeah.
And
you're starting to sound like a regular promoter now, man.
But this is what happened. And I said this when I got inducted into the Tejano Music Hall of Fame. And this is the way I opened up my acceptance speech. Is I said, I thank my wife for making me a successful concert promoter. He says, because on my first concert, I had the show was sold out. And when we were doing the accounting, we had lost money. I told my wife, how the hell did we lose money? The place was packed. She put her hands on her hips and says, and pointing at finger, he says, where were you the whole night? Because I was in the entrance, greeting everybody, thanking them to coming in. Yeah, but you let half of those people in for free. Yeah. Why? Because you know him. The guy at Joe Brand, no, it was, what back then, it was Kent's, sells your clothing. Does he give you free clothes? No. How about the guy in the grocery store you let him free? Does he give you free groceries? No. How about the guy in the service station? Does he give you free gas? No. Then why you let him in free?
Yeah.
So my next week, my next dance, I was still greeting everybody that came in and thanking everybody that came in. It became part of my trademark because I still continue doing it at Villa Real. But I do it after they buy the ticket. I greet them inside.
Yeah.
Inside.
Well, believe it or not, you weren't really thinking at the time, but you were doing something that was going to pretty much establish a promoter career because it was your first show. You wanted to bring in the people, the clientele, and let them see what you have to offer. You might have lost, but you gained many, many years
of experience
of being in the promotion business. So, man, I think that was a good loss, man.
Thank my wife.
Yeah, and by the way, if you would have put your wife at the door, no se le hubiera pasado ningún dólar.
Oh, no, there would be a few that say, hey, you're going to have to let so-and-so in. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
I couldn't say because I said so. I couldn't say that.